Oh, it's too late now. She gonna do it at the last minute. Plug her. What's up,
Hey.
guys? Listen. Welcome to the Roundtable Podcast,
right.
guys.
That's right.
Like I always say, when you come to the table to eat, guys, we got so much
Yes.
great information today. Before we go
Yes.
in there, I'm going to kind of, I don't know, I'm going to throw in.
Well, let's see how everybody been doing.
Yeah, everybody been doing. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this before I go in. Before I want my team to talk. I want my my people, my co-hosts, to talk about what's going on with them in terms of that event that's going on. Because I want to make sure we plug in every single solitary day. And before we go, I'm giving that to them now so they can think about it. I know we got people that's still trying to come on, so we'll give it a minute before we. But why I'm saying that they have time to think about what it is they can put into perspective of what they want to say, because we definitely trying to plug this this event for them to come out and to learn some things, be taught some things in terms of how to love one another, whether it be a spouse, how to love if you're single, whatever it is. And I'm giving them time to just to meditate in those areas. But before then, guys, listen, I'm going to say before we go in there, we got Lady B at the table. We got RW3 at the table. We got Lovely T at the table. And yours truly, Antonio, at the table. Guys, listen, I'm just going to go ahead. How's your day been? How's your week
everybody's
been?
day been going?
That's right.
We got a special guest too.
We're going to get into
we're gonna get into
it. We have a special guest today.
We want to give her a grand entrance.
That's right.
Yeah,
we're going to give her a grand entrance. And listen,
right.
even in there, I want you to tune in, because I want people to just, before, because I don't know who's tuning in yet.
Yeah.
But I want to give them time. We have a special guest today.
Share the page, like the page.
That's right. Share the page, like the page. That's going to really encourage you to move forward. And she have a book out. But before we go in, you guys, listen, you want to tune in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most definitely,
want to tune
guys.
in. You want to tune in today, and that being the fact. Producer, I need you to see where our lighting is, because I can look into the screen, and maybe we need these two lights on.
Yeah.
I think it's a little dark in this area going by the screen. Come in here for a minute if you don't mind. But
well, Tone,
I
was going to say, I was watching a documentary on Netflix called The Trial of, what is that little boy's name? Fernandez, I think is the last name. And it's powerful. It's powerful.
That's fine.
So for any of you out there who are like social workers, counselors,
Could you give us a summation? What is it? What is it about?
Rooms with a whole bunch of relatives.
well, it's
That's
a
good.
child abuse case.
Okay.
And he died as a result
no, I
of
didn't see that.
torture
Wow.
from his parents.
No, I heard
Tatiana
that.
talked about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tatiana was just
It
talking about
is.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Oh
was.
my God, get your tissue ready.
Yeah, I
But
heard.
it really just talks about
Yeah.
how the system, like everybody is kind of doing their part, but somehow this little boy still died. Really?
Yeah, that was sad.
And they took the parents to court, the sheriffs to court,
That was terrible.
the CPS workers to court. So
Who are these people?
what you talking about?
When I always say who these people are, they're white or
The
black.
parents or the
White or black.
He says,
the family itself is they are Hispanic or
Hispanic.
Latin.
Yeah, Fernandez.
Latino.
Really?
And
I'm
the
surprised.
social workers were a mix of, because it's in LA, so
That's
you
right.
got a mix of
Yeah.
Latino,
Yep.
white,
That's right.
Asian.
That's right.
You know,
That's
that's that demographic there. So
That's right.
Wow. Sad.
Yeah, I feel bad.
I
about
think
that.
no matter what, we can have the perfect system in theory on paper, but anytime there's humans involved,
right.
there's a propensity or the possibility or the likelihood of things can be cracked, or you're going to have issues, because even though the system on paper is perfect, but we bring our humanity and our issues and our emotions to the system, and I'm gonna check it out though, because I'm sure it's.
When my daughter told me, I told her to stop talking.
Yeah, because it was.
Because I didn't even want to hear no more. I was so, and in my mindset, when it talked about the kid, I was just, I almost went into depression real quick. So I said, hey, I don't want to hear it no more. I get it. I understand what you're saying. It was bad.
That's the people that sounds like familiar wording in my house. Like some people can't take it, and I respect that. But I think, when you work in that field every day, it's kind of like it's like a wake up call.
That's right.
A reminder of why we do what we do, why it's important to dot our I's and cross our T's.
That's right.
Because it's not. I don't get upset at the people. Because I expect the people to behave in the way that they are. That's why they're seeking help.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the systems.
That's right.
That when they get lazy and complacent,
that's right.
and they start missing details.
That's right.
And
see, I'm going to tell you this. I used to always say that I admire people that can deal with those type of situations. Even when me and my wife, we had a delivery service, and I used to deliver. I want to say it in a way that you can understand. I know the terminology, but I'm going to say it in this way. I used to deliver dead people to hospitals. I'll say it that way. And I used to bring them in, push them in. They'll be in a box, cut up, all kind of pieces, whatever you want to say. And I know the real name. Exactly. And I used to push them, and I used to push them in the room. And I used to look at the doctor, and I say, you know what? Literally, I used to tell them, I say, you know what? I envy you, because of what you can do. I'm saying it to you guys, even into the area of, because sometimes you can hear so much every day where it could become almost depressing to hear so much bad information that's coming to you, where you hear this constantly. And I know what I used to do. I used to deliver spines, heads, arms, the whole 9 yards, head cut off, body cut, and I used to deliver I used to deliver it
to the hospital so they could do their
whether it be for science, it could be for science or whatever.
Right.
But I knew what was in back of that truck, and when I put off, sometimes just to make fun of my wife, she'd jump out the truck when I get out of the truck, because she'd be like, I don't want to be in here with this. She'd jump out and everything, and I'd be like, nothing Dad can't get up and bite you. You know what I mean? So I did that a lot. I did that to different hospitals and different things. It was part of our business, whatever. I mean, we obviously make good money. But the thing is that, I envy people who can deal with that, because they had to go and cut open and do all these things and pull out, and all these patients. Same thing with you guys. That's why I'm going to plug these guys more and more. And again, you guys need to come out when they talk about this seminar that's about to happen. I want you guys to listen to these individuals that's going to talk to professionals and in their fields, and they want to help you out. We didn't get to this. RW3 did mention this. I want you to like and subscribe to this page. Yes. I want you to like and subscribe to this page. No, actually, I don't want you to subscribe, but this is Facebook. You can't subscribe. Just like this page and share it. I want you to like and share it. Guys, listen, we're here for you. We have a great topic. In our first hour, we always talk about business, whether it's promoting individuals, their books, whether it's promoting their business. That's what we do. Hopefully it's informative to you, where you guys can learn and be educated in some type of area that may help you.
Most definitely.
And we're going to get into that even as we speak now. But like and share this page. That's what I want you to do. And last but not least, I want you to comment. The phone hour is not on today, but after today, we're going to be on where you can actually call in and ask questions and something that's on your mind, and maybe we can help you answer. Maybe our guests can help you in that area. But in all of that, I want you to like and share this page so that I always say this every podcast, I want to be the #1 podcast.
That's right.
At least in the city of Detroit.
Amen. Yes.
That's
yes.
That's right.
For now. We want to go globally.
Right.
But until then, we want to be the #1.
That's
so,
right.
guys, listen, we're about to go into this. Lady B about to introduce our guest today so we can get into this topic.
Hey guys, so we're excited. We got a special guest, Erica Lynn.
That's right.
Hey,
Erica Lynn.
she is a speaker. She is a coach. She is an author, a mother, and everything. Yes.
That's right.
So Erica Lynn was born in May 10, 1976. Her experiences through tragedy, hurt, pain, and suffering most in which was beyond her control, became the driving force in her determination to reach a higher level. She realized that her unresolved issues were leading her to a life of overwhelming pain and self-destruction. But in her journey of self-discovery, helped her to realize that everything she needed was inside of herself. From this point forward, every void became filled with self-worth, self-preservation, self-love, and self-determination. She's not only that, she has a book, 7 Techniques of Healing. So we're going to let her introduce herself as well.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you.
Welcome to the round table.
Thank you. That was such a great introduction. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Awesome. I guess I could get used to that, right?
That's right.
Yes, and as she said, I am a motivational speaker. I'm a transformational coach. And through my journey and my triumph, that is how I began to write the book and written the book, 7 Techniques of Healing. And I thought that I knew that I couldn't just stop at a book. I had to begin to provide as many avenues as I can for people who have gone through traumas and who are in need of healing. And healing just comes in all different levels and forms.
That's right.
Wow,
Absolutely.
yes, that's good.
So I guess in me, and RW3 is going through the book now, guys, listen, we all experience emotional trauma. I'll say that, emotional trauma. We go through so much in our lives. You know your own personal experience. You know what it is that you went through, whether it be abuse of any sort. Whatever it is, you know what you experienced. We have someone here today that went through it all, have experienced multiple situations, and we here with her, and I want you to just tune in to your emotional. I want you to, that emotional part, that part that you deal with, that section of your brain that you deal with. We was talking about sections of the brain when I was in school about whatever we deal with. There's an area. So my thing is, I want you to really sit back and I want you to listen. Look, get out of denial. Get out of yourself of denial. I want you to listen to what she's have to talk about, because we have counselors here. I'm pushing on them today. They can push out these different things, and talk. But I want you to tune in. I want you to pay attention, to focus in on those things that you're going through, because there's a book out here today that's going to be able to help you guys, and RW3 is throwing that book up now, these 7 things that you will be able to help, that will help you to heal you. We're not giving you all 7 today. Because
maybe just a quick.
How many we gonna give
quick.
How many we gonna use?
Just let us know what the 7 are.
How
because they are in the table contents, the 7, and it is if they go to my website, it tells you what the 7 are.
Quote their website.
What's your website?
It's onestepbeyondyou.com. That's the number 1 step, STEPBEYOND, the letter U.com. One Step Beyond You.
So I want to get into a little bit. I know you were saying that you were this was proven through, you had a medical diagnosis of severe migraines.
Yes.
And so what can you tell me and share a little bit about what was going on?
At about age 16, I used to live in Portland, Oregon. And I worked at the Dairy Queen, and that was probably like my second job I had in life. And I remember walking to work, and when I got to work, I wasn't feeling well. And I was like, so I go to work, and it felt like a headache, but something a little more intense. And I couldn't even start my shift. I'm sitting down, and I'm telling my boss, like, I just don't feel good. And they was like, they brought me some cold towels to put on my head and all of this. And I was like, just something is not right. I feel like I need to vomit. I need to relieve. Like my life, it was just crazy. It was something I had never experienced before. And they was like, well, you can't work like this. Go home. So I remember walking back down the hill, going to my house, and I'm laying in the bed. By this time, I'm just lifeless. And my mother just so happened to call, and I said, no, actually, I called my mother. I said, Ma, I couldn't make it through a shift. I'm at home. And she said, okay. So by the time she made it down to our apartment, I was like unconscious.
Wow.
My headaches was so bad that I would just go into like an unconscious state to keep me from hurting. That's how bad the pain was. It would just be from the top of my head and it would go all through my body. Then I would have hot and cold sweats. And what would happen is if I had to go to the restroom, I would have to crawl on my hands and knees to go to the bathroom just to balance out the chemicals in my head because the pain and the pressure was so bad. And so what would happen is I would begin to, because the episode, I call them episodes. Episodes for me would last days, but the pain would last about 4 to 6 hours. So first I would vomit for hours until my body was just exhausted. And then I would get hot and I would take all my clothes off. Then I would get cold and just wrap up. And then I would just go like that until I just passed out on the bathroom floor. And this is how my family found me for years. This was years to come. This didn't stop until I was like 33 years old.
Wow.
And so my kids, they had to learn how to take care of me in this state. I could have like literally, I was driving down 75 one day, and my son, they went to a DSA, and he was 13. I literally went to his school, asked his counselor to pull him out of class. He had to learn how to drive at 12, 13 years old so he can drive me home. So the kids knew what to do when I got in that state. So that on top of all the other issues that I had at 13 years old, like, well, my father left when I was younger. So when he left, I was always looking for somebody to love me. I'm looking for love in all the wrong places, as we say.
That's right.
And at 13, my mother, she was molested as a child. So there was issues, you know. And we had a neighbor who was from down south. He was this big, tall guy, and she would say, well, you go wash his dishes, you know, he'll give you some money to go get ice cream or whatever, or ask him to take you to the store, he'll help you. And so I remember asking him to take me to the store one day, and when we come out of the grocery store, I'm trying to get in the back seat. He says, no, you sit in the front seat. And you know, back then, they didn't have the console in the car, just one big long seat.
That's right.
So I sat over closest to the door, and he grabbed me, he pulled me close to him, and I'm sitting in the front seat riding home, like, I just want this ride to hurry up and get over. And then he just began to take his hand and start touching me all over my body. And I was just like, if I squeeze tight enough, he can't intrude on me personally. And so that just began to send me to a space that I couldn't come back from.
That's right.
I just was buck wild. At that point, my family had no idea what happened to me. They was like, she have no reason to act like. I went crazy pretty much. I was buck wild. I was in the streets, smoking, drinking, partying, anything, you name it.
So what led you to this place of entrepreneurship? You know how some people make excuses to say, well, I've been through this or I've been through this. I don't want to do nothing with my life. I just want to waste it away. What led you to the point of saying entrepreneurship? I want to be a business owner.
Well, after a couple years ago, I really hit rock bottom again. And I was basically suicidal. God led me to the Winter Circle Church, to where I go now. Like, it took men to break me, but it also took men to help rebuild me. So God had to send 3 men into my life to help rebuild me. My father came back in the picture before he passed away. He spent 3 years loving on me and us building a relationship that we didn't have. And then my pastor, he stepped in. This was the first time that I had a man show me love from a spiritual standpoint and from a godly love, and a man that didn't want anything from me, but just to show me how to love myself and how to have a relationship with God. And then he sent a friend into my life that just came into town and was like, you're not the normal Erica. And so through that process of rebuilding, after I went through developing the 7 techniques and going through the 7 techniques, then one day I cried for the last time, and my friend said, no more. I will not accept another tear. And I was like, but what? This is the life I've lived. I like living in my pain, living in my tears. I was known for my sorrows. He says, no, you have to stop that. And I'm not accepting it. And so because of that, I started just building on. I started getting happy. I started like, wow, life is different. This is different besides being sad. And so one day I just woke up. I was like, oh my God, I feel pretty again. I feel myself. I feel like I want to help people. I want to help young girls. And he said, so now what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to tell you what I want to do. I want to start a company. I want to write a book. I want to do a podcast, and I want to be a blessing and help people. And he says, well, okay. And I launched all 4 of them at the same time.
Wow. What you gonna say, someone?
Go ahead.
So I think it's important for the listeners to hear, because of course everyone knows we're a spiritual podcast as well. Right. So when I think about, and I'm going to really truncate the scripture when Paul talks about, he became weak to those who were weak, a Jew who was a Jew. I became all things to all men, yet to gain some. And oftentimes someone is there and we're here. I need you to get here. This is what you're going through, all the pain. But oftentimes we don't go to that person and walk the path. So I said that to ask this question because what you said was extremely traumatic about in the vehicle. So for some, men or women who had experienced something similar to that, kind of give us a summation, that journey from that point to the powerful sister you are here, because who you are now is not that person. So people can see this, but okay, how did you get from the car to sitting here today?
It was a lot of broken years, a lot of broken heart. From after the car, I met my children's father at age 17. I was stripping in a strip club. So I used to be a dancer at 17, and you had to have a license, and I didn't have a license. So I ended up having to go underground.
Was that in Detroit?
Yes.
Or was it outside of Detroit?
Yeah, it was in Detroit. Okay. And so I did go in the club and audition and have my experiences, but because I was 17, I had to go underground. And that was like a whole total different life of of different pains and hurts and things that you wouldn't necessarily experience in the club because you don't have anybody controlling what happens when you go underground. Right. And from there, I met my kid's father, and we had 3 children. But because my self-esteem was so low, and I was 17 and he was in his 20s, he practically raised me because my father was not there. But what he did was the violence, the abuse in the marriage, it was just so gut-wrenching that some days I would just cringe because I always wanted, like, you look for that father figure. Like, and you look for it in your man. But because of his issues, he just really, he took my self-esteem to an all-time low. Like, I was called every name in the book. The level of verbal abuse that I experienced, to me, was far worse than what I've experienced. And physically, now we did fight, but after like one last fight to where I got hit, I never hit him again, but from there, the verbal abuse, it was just as bad, if not worse.
And see, this is my thing, right? Okay, so, I'm looking in the book. I see it's a lot of intense stuff. You want to be able to get this book, The 7 Techniques of Healing. You want to be able to get this book. Guys, listen, I'm looking at some things in this book that's really deep. Maybe you experience some things in your personal life, in your life, and whether it be abuse, whatever it might be. I don't know what your situation is, but I understand that this book can help you, or it can be a guidance to help you to where you need to go. Sometimes we need help. Right. Whether you're in an abusive relationship, whatever it might be, you need some help. Maybe you think that there's nobody out there who understands what you're going through. And see, that's my call to say that there's someone who actually has been through what you've been through. Sometimes we get to this situation in our life where we believe there's no one else out there who's going through what we're going through. And maybe so. But even there could be something similar to what you've been through. You're not alone.
Right.
And that's what I want you to understand. Yeah. And for ladies, love these talk, you're not alone. I want you to understand. If there's a part in this book, page 23, the title is "I Accept What Was Given to Me." I would shut down, not communicate, and instead stay silent. That's somebody out there.
That's really.
They would stay silent because of the abuse. Right. They will close in. They will close up. And guys, listen, you don't have to do that. Sometimes that can be a hindrance to your survival.
And success as well.
Exactly, because you close up. You don't want to tell anybody. You don't want to speak. Maybe, you know, maybe they get through. Maybe. And then guess what? Sometimes we blame us. We blame ourselves to what's going on. Maybe we were the cause to this situation that happened to us in our life. Right. You are not the cause.
That's right.
I want you to know you're not the cause. And this book is a very great book. I want you to purchase this book. Listen, you go online. I want to say this real quick, lady, but when you go online, you can purchase. Is it online?
Amazon.
You can go into Amazon, purchase this book. Listen, have it sent to you, even if you got to read it in your closet. I don't know where you are. Maybe you got to read it in your bathroom. I'm trying to reach you to where you are, wherever it is. Maybe you got to read it in the car. But I'm trying to get you to understand that you're not alone. Right. There's someone out here who's put a book together for you.
That's right.
For you.
That's right.
I was talking with her, and the first thing that I heard when she talked, I heard ministry. You know, God wants to heal you. He wants to heal you where you are today, even if you don't believe. But so let me say this. I'll take away. I'm going to say to my believers, God wants to heal you. For my non-believer, she put a book together. Yeah, and it can help you. To wherever it is, wherever you are in life, I want you to understand you're not alone. And that's the key standpoint. That's the key to me.
Yes.
You're not alone. Somebody the enemy, whoever it is, might say that you're alone. You're in this by yourself. It was you. You could have did better. And now your emotional standpoint, that you believe that. And you say, yeah, maybe he just was, you know, he was upset because I didn't make dinner. I know he's stressful. He's going through things. Or maybe he just felt like that I can be my best. So he called me out of my name and just downgrade me as a person. You don't deserve that.
That's right.
You don't deserve that. I want you to know that. Yeah, and I have my social workers but I'm going to tell you, you don't deserve that. I can get on fire and I can move to another level, but I know I got to take it to a perspective. So I'm gonna let somebody else talk.
Yeah, I was just gonna validate your comments about the verbal abuse, in that statistically it shows that in domestic violence situations, psychological abuse is far worse and has much more impact than physical abuse. So even though it's, you know, verbal, it's still working on your psychological and your emotional well-being. So I just wanted to validate that. And also, one of the questions that I had was kind of piggybacking off of what Robert asked you. So, you know, when was it, so you talked about different points where certain people came into your life and helped you. But can you talk a little more about what was it for you where you decided that, you know, change is possible, that, you know, I don't have to be this, you know, like you say, wild, broken spirit. What was that point? What did that point look like for you?
That's right.
At 2 points in my life. One, at 35 years old, because I went back to college at 35 years old. So all before then, I've never had a job paying me more than $10 an hour, raising 3 kids on public assistance. And so that was the first turning point, going back to college and knowing that I can do it. But because I still dealt with those issues mentally, trying to deal with depression, because I had depression for so long, I would go, like, nobody really knew about it unless my one girlfriend that had been friends with me since 6th grade, she always knew. And so she would be the person that I would go to, like, look, I'm having an issue today. And she would, like, talk me through it. But nobody would know because I was shut down for so many days. And when I came out the house, this is what you would see. Because that time I was able to shower, put my makeup on, look flawless, and you never knew what was going on in the inside of me. When I would go to church, I would just cry and cry and cry. Nobody knew how broken I was. Right. And so when I entered into the new church, because I used to go to Triumph, and that church was so big, it's like you really can't get personable with people. Yeah. And my friend used to say, long time, you need to go to a smaller church where you can actually learn the Bible, learn something in Bible study, and you can get to know people. So when I went to the Winter Circle, I went on a Sunday, and I remember going in this sundress, and it had a little cutout, and I was like, I felt such like a floozy, right, being in church, because I was like, oh, you know, this was the first time I ever felt uncomfortable. Right. But Pastor, he was talking. First of all, he came out in some Nike gym shoes and a Nike jogging suit. And I was like, what's this place I'm in? But when he opened his mouth the words of God just kept coming out, and I just kept crying and crying. Then he kept talking about Bible study, all about Bible study. I said, oh, I got to go to this Bible study. But my life is always so busy on a Wednesday, I can't go. Just so happened my dermatology appointment got canceled. I said, oh, I'm going to Bible study. So I go to Bible study. I'm crying in Bible study. And then after Bible study, pastor came up to me. He introduced himself. No pastor has ever came and introduced themselves to me. He introduced himself to me, him and his armor bearer. And he says, ask me who I am. And I said, can I tell you a secret? He said, what? I said, I've been crying every day for 1 year. He said, what do you mean every day for 1 year? I said, I go to work every morning. I sit in my cubicle. Nobody sees me because my back is toward my coworkers. I cry every morning till 11 a.m. for that many hours every day. And he was like, why? I said, because I'm depressed. I'm going through a lot and I don't know how to fix it. And he began praying for me. And he gave me his cell phone number. I've never had a pastor's cell phone number. He gave me his cell phone number. And that day, he texted me some scriptures about depression and healing. And so when he would be in the pulpit talking about depression, people don't know he would be talking about me. But when I had issues, I could call him or I could text him and he would give me counsel. So as I began to walk, God just started opening doors and start saying, okay, you've gone through enough pain and hurt. Now it's time for me to help heal you.
And see, I like to connect to the audience because someone's going through something, whatever that it is, what you're going through, abuse. One of the things that popped up in my mind was, we had a conversation before we got it. Maybe you're going through a loss. Maybe it's a child loss. You lost a child or whatever they might be. You have to understand it is not your fault. You have to understand. You have to put those perspectives together. You have to look towards who your God is. I like to call him Yahshua HaMashiach. I mean, that's me, her Hebrew translation. But I want you to understand that it's not your fault. Depending on the situation, what it is. But you have to turn. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you who to turn to. You can turn to Yahshua. He's a savior. He's a healer. He's a mind regulator. He's a deliverer. Whatever that it is that you need. It comes more to this book. But before anybody else go in, I want Lady B to read that part of that verse or whatever it is. I want you to read that part.
In her book.
In the book. This part of the book.
I accepted what was given to me. I would shut down, not communicate, and instead stay silent. Yet on the inside, I was boiling red. From the outside looking in, it seemed easy to stand up to and express how I felt to him. But in hindsight, the intense level of verbal abuse I suffered at the hands of my first husband had broken me down to my core. And there were days where I only managed to hang on to my sanity by a thin strand.
Go ahead. Let me just refer. All I'm saying is the reason why I had Lady B to read that, because somebody running through that. You've been through an abusive situation. You've been put down. It's been dogging you out. And you've been hanging on by a strand. It's so much you're dealing with emotionally, where it's like you want to give up. That could be suicide to some people. I don't know what it is, but understanding that there's help for you. You know why? Because you tuned in. You're listening to this book. There's help for you. And I want you to know you're not by yourself. There's people that's been through those experiences, and they're here to say, hey, listen, I've been through this. Yahshua helped me out. And guess what? He'll help you out. Look at my
life now, and God is doing good.
That's right. You can set your life. You can put yourself. If you give it all over to Him, He will help you. And I can only come from a Christian perspective, but at the same time, there is a book that you can read, and you can gain whatever that perspective is for you. I want to play both sides of the fence, but all I'm saying is that there's help for you, and you're not alone. I want you to know that. And the name of that book is, again, what is the name of that book?
It is 7 Techniques of Healing.
7 Techniques of Healing.
Yeah.
I want you to go to Amazon RW3 have the book up now. I want you to go to Amazon. You know, guys, you know what you're dealing with.
Let me interject.
Okay,
so the subheading is the 7 techniques of healing, how I overcame abuse to live my authentic life.
See, that's what we're talking about, that authentic life today.
That's right. Overcame.
Right. That's right.
So she's saying that she's clear now.
Yes.
Listen, she's saying that the help it mattered to her. You know, she's overcame these situations. And before RW3 goes, all I want you to know is there is healing for you today.
Yes, it is.
There is sometimes Yah will bring that in the matter of a book. He'll put it in a book. You know him as Jesus Christ. I know, Yahshua HaMashiach. You know him as Jesus Christ. All I'm saying is that he's come to you. Here is something that was going to redeem you. You know, I don't know. I mean, pick it up, buy it, go to Amazon. I want you to purchase it.
And so, like she had mentioned, the authentic. So our main thing today is showing how she went through that and look where she is today in terms of business. She's an entrepreneur. She's a business owner. So that's what we want people to see today.
That's right.
That just because your past doesn't dictate your life today and what you can do for your future. So
that's right.
Most definitely.
And I want RW3 to pick up where we can, because I know you was going to say.
Just to piggyback off what you said, and I have, I guess, a thought I would like for you to speak to. One, when you mentioned about, and this is so critical, about like, it's not your fault. It's one thing that I've noticed, in therapy, is sometimes people are harder on themselves than God is hard on them. Meaning that you say, whatever decision that we make, God, forgive me, he forgives you immediately, right? But we continue to hold our own selves hostage, and we refuse to forgive ourselves. You have to, if you, live your truth, no one can hold it against you. So my thing is, it's critical for you to say, you know what, I did this, I made this decision, but you know what, I'm moving forward and I'm forgiving myself.
Right.
So that is so critical when you said, about it not being your fault and being okay, because all of us have something in the past that we've had to be forgiven for, and we had to forgive ourselves for. Absolutely. So it's a couple words out when I looked at the book that jumps out at me. And one is authenticity, right? And two is, living your best life, the best of who you are. So my thought, make the connection between, because coming from a place of, I'm just going to use the term sick, because I'm, being sick, people always think the most traumatic and most extreme places of being sick. But anytime you're not walking in your own authenticity, or you are being a people pleaser, you're not living your best life, I would argue that's a place of sickness. Because if you're not authentic, and if you're not living your best life and who you are, I think that's problematic. So let's speak to that whole thought, because those two words jumped out at me.
Good
job. Anybody knows me know I'm so silly. And when I'm not laughing or cracking jokes or being the life of the party, then I'm not being authentic. And so when you saw me, I was just so broken. Everybody like, come to the parties. I don't even want to go to the parties. I don't want to, I didn't want to do anything anymore. I was just kind of walking around as a zombie. That's not my authenticity. So rather I was the life of the party in the secular world.
That's right.
Now I'm the life of the party in the spiritual world.
That's right.
I'm still authentic.
That's right.
But what's most important is being able to share my story to help other people.
And see, that's one of the things that I see. Great job for both of you guys. And that's what it's about, being authentic, being who you are, who you were created to be. Sometimes because of life, what is that word I want to use? Life, vicissitudes, things we didn't expect to happen. We didn't expect some things to happen in our life. Because of these issues that we deal with, problems occur. And we didn't expect these things. And it kind of like, close who we supposed to be, because we live in a life, and it could be a life of whatever it is, maybe abuse, whatever it is. It closes the door to the promise that God has for our lives. And I'm going to use God, even if you aren't believers out there, because that's the only person that I know. You know what I mean? So, and I want to draw back. I want to look at this title. I'm not going to read it because I want you to buy it. You know, there's a strong title in here. It says, I believe that men and women can cause their children to be in pursuit of the love that was not given to them by their parents.
Yeah.
You know, it could be so many things that go in our lives as parents that we forget about our children. And in that, you know, I'm not a psychiatrist or I'm not a social worker. And thank God we have them on site, because I'm about to jump out there. So my thing is that, you know, and they can help me. So my thing is that because I'm focused more on what I'm going through, sometimes I can lose sight of what's going on around in my surroundings. And that could be my loved ones, my children. And I'm not focused on making sure that I'm loving them properly.
Yeah.
And you can go through that. And why am I saying that this book is necessary? And I'm going to stay on this book. This book is necessary to me because this can help you to actually gain back or get back that love that you want or should have with your loved ones, whether it be your children, family members, whatever it is. But you need to work on you, whoever it is, whatever you're going through. It's important that you work on who you are as a person and not be so broken where you can't get back that joy of loving someone else.
Right. Most
So
definitely.
in order for that to happen, hey guys, listen, I'm going to throw out there. I would just take a look at this book and see this. She's went through so many situations, but she's overcome them. You know, and in the book, it's going to share how she overcame those issues. And I want you to look at this. You know, I should be getting charged for this. I should get paid for this. But my thing is that I want you to understand that this is something that you need to pick up. I want you to pick this. I want you to go to Amazon. Listen, you going through it. You got the money. I know you got. Listen, I'm looking at you.
Well, guess how much the book is?
Okay, what's the book?
It's only $10.
See, now there's no excuse.
Y'all spent that on that Popeye's chicken sandwich. You get waiting that long line at Popeye.
Exactly.
You getting a couple of those chicken
Was it
sandwiches.
worth it?
That's what I'm saying.
Was it? Okay.
It's in and out.
Yeah,
That stays.
and I could talk about mental health with that Popeye
Right.
chicken sandwich. People killing each other over that Popeye chicken
Oh yeah, they
sandwich.
tripping about that sandwich, bro.
But here's someone who's giving you they're sharing their life stories. And I admire people that share their life experiences. They step out because they want to help you.
It's brave.
That's right. It's very
brave.
brave.
And let me say this. And you mentioned about you talking about the children and people, not loving their children and how these things, the lack of how it impacts our children, the future generations. The thing about it is, and I say this all the time, and the book can speak to this piece, is this. Sometimes we walk in dysfunction and we think it's functional because that's all we know.
Right. It's
I mean, it's the norm. So that normal dysfunctionalism, because everything around us, that's what it is. It seems functional until you get introduced or you prepared to really hear what's functional. Again, otherwise, like when I came up, I didn't know I was poor until I became an adult.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, the way we were living and 3 or 4 families in the house
That's
and the roaches and the food stamps, the power getting cut off, we cold. Like it didn't, because my mom, it was just us and my sisters together, my mom. And that, until I became adult and reflect, I said, man, we was poor. I mean, we didn't have, living with all those different people and switching schools 25 times and coming down the street. We had got evicted and all the furniture is outside.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But, I never thought until I knew how, how impoverished we were. So the book is powerful because, it can introduce people and open people's eyes and their heart and their spirit to what can actually be functional for them in that journey from brokenness and to healness. And, being healed and that it's, you don't have to depend on folk to complete you or
that's right.
in terms of being healed.
That's
right.
As long as you got God, you can be healed and God defines you and like I love the best self and authenticity. That is so, God made us all who we are, and all of us are authentic based on how he made us. We just have to tap into it and walk in it. I love that authenticity term. That's one of my favorite words.
I want to say that oftentimes we try to get into new relationships, right? And you in your relationship, and all of a sudden you just start snarling at your mate, and they like, you wasn't like this last week. What's going on? What's happening is the issues from the past are beginning to resurface. So my best recommendation is, until you wholeheartedly heal yourself first, do not enter into a new relationship, because the man or woman that God has for you, you can cause that man or woman to walk away and leave you because you didn't heal self first. You cannot get into a relationship and expect them to heal you. You have to do the work first.
You have to do the work.
And you know, and I'm saying, and let me listen. And I would talk to people, and they would say, you know, people say, well, the person is going through so much, like jealousy and everything, right? And people, when I talk to people, they'll say, well, what did you do to make that person jealous? And this is the argument I make, like the point you made. Some people come into relationships just not trusting folk. And they ain't got nothing to do with you.
Right.
You know, because, you know, I was at work the other day, and this person said, we were in the lounge area, and I just had my phone like that. And a clear blue sky. You know, I ain't, you got your face, your phone down, you don't have to put it down. I ain't your woman. I'm like,
wow. Wow.
You tripping.
Wow.
You know what? You know, I said, does every person that, you know, have their phone down, that means they're trying to, I said, where does that come from?
Yeah.
But they ain't have anything to do with me.
Right.
You know,
it's the past, because I did it. I told my friend, and when we first started dating years ago, I said, anybody who, like, it's my rule, you can't have your phone face down. I don't have anything to hide. Do you have anything to hide?
That's right.
But I didn't learn till later on that he has so much business going on. If we're in a conversation, if his phone is up, then he's going to answer emails. He's going to answer texts. So if you want your one-on-one personable time, then that is why some men put their phone down. Everybody have their own reasons. But nowadays, because of social media and technology, we can't even have dinner together without answering the phones or without, you know what I mean? And so that's some other people may have reasons why they face down. So you can't always think of the negative as to why somebody have their phone face down.
Go ahead, ladies.
Miss Lynn, what? By the way, I love Lynn, that name.
Thank you.
That's right.
But,
why you love that name?
Because it's my middle name. That's right.
That's right.
She just made that up. Damn.
So you tried it. Distraction. With your business. What do you feel are some of your biggest accomplishments? And where do you see yourself? What are some of your goals for the next year?
Okay, my biggest accomplishments is Motivating Into Your Purpose. Is a conference that I put on every year. And so I help people to discover what their purpose is and then give them the tools and techniques into walking into their purpose. My biggest baby that I've worked on, after I was sharing with him earlier, a copy of my book was sent to the prison. And someone from the prison had called me and said, we love the book. Can we teach out of the book? Because the book does ask you questions to help you identify what's going on in your life. And I said, well, I didn't really design it to teach it that way. So that, along with another person saying, we love the book, or other people saying, we like for you to go deeper. But because I knew the book would be in the churches, I didn't know how deep I could go, how dirty, you know what I mean? And so I started writing book number 2. And in the midst of writing book number 2, God stopped me. And I began writing the 7 Techniques of Healing Masterclass. So the masterclass is where I am right now. My next masterclass is March 28th. And so not only do you get to identify the areas in your life, but I personally walk you through the rest of the techniques and helping you move forward. Because once we identify what's going on, now we got to help heal you. We got to shift your mind into a positive mindset. And I brought on a powerful attorney who's going to collaborate with me in the master class on your mind, and shifting your mind. And so now we're going to help you heal and shift your mind. Because I'm a motivational speaker, there's no way I can stay in the sad place. I like to
bring the good
laughter
notes,
is healing.
Bring the good notes.
What I want to ask you, how can they reach out to that seminar? Like, do you have any phone numbers at this time? I want you to push that out.
Okay. So there's a lot of ways. One, you can contact our office, which is 888-443-1112. You can go to my website. It's on the first page of the website. That's onestepbeyondyou.com. The number 1 step, STEPBEYOND, the letter U.com. And it's on all of my social media. So you find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel, One Step Beyond You. So that's how you find.
Okay. And see, my last thing that I would address is that I want Lady B to read this last one out. And I want you to talk about this.
Okay.
And she's going to read it out. Go ahead.
The core access of healing is for you to identify and become the best version of yourself.
Now, becoming the best, how do you become the best version of yourself? I'm talking about from your perspective. From my perspective. From what you've been through, the different situations you've been through, you had to find you. You had to find you through all of this to become the best version of yourself, because there's someone out there that's dealing with, they don't know who they are anymore because of their lifestyle, of who's been leading them, guiding them, abusing them. They forgot who they were. Even you can even forget who you are in raising children. You can raise children for so long that you forget who you are because you're so caught up in being a wife, or being a husband, being a spouse, being a father, being a mother, where you forget who you are, being in an abusive relationship where you've been called a dog so many times, where you don't even, or that BITCH so many times.
Yes, I know.
And I'm going there because you forget who you are, because that name is a name that rings bells in your mind. Where you forget, you lose your identity of who you are. I know who you are.
And who you belong to.
And who you belong to. But I want our guest to speak to that. And we're going to close it out that way because I want you to know that you are someone. Let's go there.
And when you speak to that, I want you to also touch on in terms of, how do you know when you've gotten to the place that you're the best version of yourself, or is it a continuum journey? Speak to that as well.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
I think it's a
lot
good
of
journey.
pressure. No pressure.
I think it's a continuous journey, but that's good. That's good.
Well, in order for me to become the best version of myself, you were right. I hit rock bottom because my daughter moved to Taiwan. My oldest son moved in his own apartment, and the youngest son had moved with their father. So I had always been working 2 jobs and doing everything. So I didn't have the work at the second job had slowed down. So I had to go home and just sit by myself. What do I do? Like, I'm sitting there watching TV. I had this new furniture. I never watched TV. So by about the second day, I'm in the rocker chair. I'm crying. And now all the depression just started coming. And I was like, what is happening? I didn't realize at the time that's what it was from me, like, hiding everything for so long, paying so much attention to my kids, raising my kids. Well, two of the things I had to do, I had to take the weight off of it. First, I had to call my kids and tell them what my issues were, what happened between their father and I, so they can understand what happened. Then I had scheduled a luncheon with my ex-husband. His wife came too.
Wow.
And but she wasn't allowed to sit with us.
Okay.
She sat at the bar area. And I had all of this stuff written down. You so. Let me tell you how God worked. We went to Starters on Woodward, and God set us next to 4 older, beautiful black queens with gray.
Wow.
So I couldn't even cuss and fuss. I was ready. I had my stuff written down. And he goes, let me talk first. He spent the first 10 minutes apologizing and saying all this stuff and whatever. When it was my turn to talk, I was like, dang.
Disarmed.
He did right.
Disarmed.
So I still said what I had to say because I needed to tell him what he actually did.
That's right.
I needed to show him share with him what he actually did because we did a lot of drinking back then, and I smoked a lot of weed. You know what I mean? Your mind kind of play tricks on you or whatever it is. But once I began to share with him and tell him what he did, he apologized.
That was good.
He apologized.
That was good, 'cause
and
you don't often.
Yeah, and for me, that brought closure and a healing to a part of my life, to 10 years of my life that I had been been held in bondage for so long. So once I did that, I was able to move forward. Now, to answer your question, it is a continuing journey. And what I mean by that is I go to counseling every 3 weeks. So now I'm listening and helping heal all these women, and I'm taking in all y'all stories. I got to go release to somebody. The other thing that I do is, because when people see you on TV, they feel like you got it all together and that you rich and you're successful. But I'm just me. I'm just going to live in my authentic self, and I'm going to let you know that I'm going to counseling. I'm going to let you know that I surrounded myself with a team that I can call on. So when I'm having an episode or a flashback, look at all the people I got. I got my pastor. I got my team that works for me. I got my kids. I have my friends, my family, everybody. So it's always going to be a continuing journey. But the difference is, I don't hide for 5 days.
That's right.
It might last an hour or two, because now I've learned the techniques of how to stop it before it becomes full blown.
Right. All right.
Living the light. Living the light.
We appreciate our guests.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Very inspiring.
I want Lady B to mention the name of the book again. Say it out. Just say it out loud.
It is 7 Techniques of Healing, How I Overcame Abuse to Live My Authentic Life. Erica Lynn. Okay. 7 Techniques of Healing, How I Overcame Abuse to Live My Authentic Life. Erica Lynn.
I want you guys to go out. I want you to purchase this book. Listen, I know you know. Maybe put it back up there again, Robert. Jasmine, I want you to go to that camera shot that you can see it. I want you to tune into that camera shot right there. Give me a minute. Maybe the camera shot. Hope the camera shot is up now. Guys, I want you to go and purchase this book, not because she's on our podcast, but because it makes sense to do it. You know, it's something that can help. It's something that can guide you, that can be, you know, a hope to you or something in there. It's not like that. Just snap it back on. But I want you to go to the website and purchase this book. She came on for you. She came to this podcast, you know, because she wants to be able to help you guys to understand that, look, you can get help. You know, and I believe that you can as well. She have a strong testimony for both parties, whether you in church or not church. We all went through that. You know, listen, I'm about to go there. You're shaking your butt on that stage. You're shaking that butt. You already know that when you get off, sometimes y'all be depressed. Y'all be going through so much stuff. Pick this book up. You know, maybe you ain't depressed. Maybe you like shaking your butt. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what the situation is, but I'm saying, I'm just playing around. You know, I'm just playing around. But my thing is that I want you to purchase. I really want you to get this book. I really, really naturally want you. The Bible says we should rejoice with those who do rejoice. So if there's someone who's doing a great job, we're supposed to stand in line and rejoice with them because we want God to do the same for us. And in this aspect, I want you to go out and purchase this book. This is from someone who's coming from a real story. What I love is that she's a believer. That's just me. I love anybody who's a believer that's coming on doing their thing. I want to support them 100%.
That's right.
I want you to go get this book. Go get this book.
Right.
Hopefully it'll change your life.
Yes.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
Listen, like, share this page so that it can get even more. Follow. Well, they sharing it, so that's cool.
Everything.
You know, even if you go to our Facebook page, follow that page, like that page, subscribe to that page on our Facebook. But we're dealing with Facebook. I want you guys to reach out, show her some love. You know, we need to show our people some love.
That's right.
You know, they're in business. They're doing, and they're in business even not just for themselves, for you. Yes. Show them some love. I want you to show them some love. And guys, listen, I need my counsel. I need my co-host to talk about what it is that's coming up. I need you guys to talk about that.
Go ahead. The How to Love seminar is coming up. We don't have a date. We will probably send out a save the date. So it'll be soon. But right now, there's going to be a survey. We talked a little bit about it last week.
And it will be on next week, the podcast, for you all to click in and take the survey so we can.
No,
3 questions, y'all.
It's already up.
Three
Okay.
questions.
All you need to talk
3
about.
questions.
Talk about
it takes you
the survey.
less than a half a minute. It's only 3 questions. And when you complete the survey, that enters you into a drawing for a prize. Of course, you have to be present at the seminar to redeem.
That's right.
But it's going to help us tailor the seminar to fit your needs. There's a lot of things that Robert and I can talk about and delve into, and if you like all of the topics, that's great, but it helps us kind of, again, tailor it to your needs, because that's what we want to do. So it's going to be exciting, it's going to be free, it's going to be engaging.
Guys, listen.
It's going to be a great time.
Depending on what it is you're going through, I think marriage couples and singles can go to it.
Everyone, How to Love, universal.
And see, that's what you need to understand. They're giving you tools. They're giving you tools on how to love. And everyone need those tools. You know, and I want you to reach out. We put up a link that you guys can go on and you can click on and follow those questions that Lady Lovely T said that you can follow. And I digress from that. I gotta push out marriage boot camp for those who are married. You know, there is something up now. I believe Psalms of Solomon. LaRon and Sean, great people. We went through their marriage boot camp. Guys, listen, they're serious. They doing this thing big. Marriage boot camp. There's a training. There's lessons. There's courses that you go through. You're gonna learn so much. I believe she's a psychiatrist. You know, in this field, in this area.
Yes, March 20th through March 22nd.
March 20th through March 22nd. You want to apply. It's well worth the price. It's well worth the price. It's going to teach you. And I'm talking to my marriage couples. You know, it's well worth it. I know who these individuals are. I went through the training. Me and my wife went through the training ourselves, and we loved every minute of it.
So check out the link on Tony and Tasha. You will see the page. Yeah, we'll put the link up. You guys can go to eventbrite.com and register.
That's right. So go check them out, guys, and listen. Just go check them out. So, guys, we're going to leave it there. My co-hosts, they're doing their thing. We have social workers. We degreed up. You know, they want to show you how to fall in love. They want to show you how to love. And they want to show you how to do these great things.
Well, hold on. Let me jump in. Listen, we're going to say this. I mean, of course, these degrees but you know what?
Doesn't make us perfect.
Right. No one has the
answer.
You know, we're just going to throw some things out there that hopefully it can get you, you know, on the right path. I don't like to use the term relationship expert.
Right.
But we do. I like to use the term. We're going to share some things with you that if you apply them, more than likely, it's going to high probability. It will help you, but we can't guarantee anything unless people are prepared to put the work in to get those things done.
Gotta put the work in.
I'm gonna plug them. Good people. I know they know what they're talking about. You want to come to the seminar as they speak. More and more, just through the next podcast, whatever it be, I want you to be attentive to what they're saying. Come out. Okay, guys? Listen, like and share this page. We love you. Stay tuned for
Relationship Hour.
Building your brand? Looking to promote your business? Or do you have a message that you want to share with the world? Focus on what you love and let us take care of the rest. We offer a variety of video and editing production services, from live streaming, podcasts, short films, commercials, animation, and web shows. And it doesn't stop there. Busha Media offers graphic design services for your promotional marketing materials for print and social media. So visit our website or give us a call today. Grab your spouse and commit to a weekend of working together to make the marriage you desire. Gain tools, receive one-on-one mentoring, and explore topics in the area of intimacy, communication, satisfaction, and more at the Bootcamp Express Marriage Seminar, March 20th through the 22nd.
What you talking about? You mean the commercial?